Hello. This is a match analysis for Landoro. I can pull up. So this analysis is going to be a bit of a two-parter. The first part is going to be the actual analysis, like the actual analysis of the match, and then the second part is going to be analysis of how to analyze, if that makes sense, because I'm going to be breaking down kind of like what to be looking out for, like general things to start out with, and then I'm also going to bring in a few resources, specifically one from PBMD, where he talks about his personal process for analyzing, because I think his process is one that's really useful and also one that's really easy to apply to your own matches. So we're going to start with that, and then we're going to move on to the analysis. So let's first pull up that PP. Pull up that PP. Pull up. There we go. We're going to pull up this PP excerpt. Actually, I guess I can just... No, I'll just snipping tool it. Okay. So I'm going to bring up, I guess it would be this window capture. Snap. Okay, here we go. Here it is. So this is from a Reddit post from like several years ago where someone literally asked, looking for information regarding Dr. PP study habits or PPMD study, like VOD analysis habits. And then PPMD actually just came in the comments and just dropped this amazing answer on like how he actually analyzes matches. So we're going to go through it. So PP says, my best advice has always been look for what happens right before a hit happens. This is in neutral or punish. It's also a big moment for lots of people and a concrete instance that things have changed, that an outplay or misstep or both occurred. We also have Divine Center Kelly in the chat. One sec while I turn on the chat box. There we go. It'll be right there. All right. So yeah, but anyways. So yeah, we're looking. So PP says we're look for what happens right before it happens. So basically, that means that like every time it happens, you should be rewinding to the start of the interaction, and then thinking about what went wrong. Did I make a mistake? Did my opponent make a mistake? Did I get outplayed? And then once you figure that out, then you can go another level up and figure out, okay, I figured out why the hit happens. What could I have done to avoid the hit? Or what could my opponent have done to avoid the hit? So in neutral, that might be, oh, I got hit because I dashed forward into Fox's short hop aerial range. And then he hit me with an unreactable neutraler. So then the answer to how you could avoid that hit would then be to, okay, so now I recognize that I need to avoid dashing into that range and instead stay outside it, and that way I can't be hit by the unreactable neutral layer. And the same thing with Punish Game. You can think, okay, so I got hit by SHEIK's dash attack to forward air as Fox. And you might notice that, okay, so I got hit by the dash attack, but I didn't move at all. I didn't DI at all. So I just got hit by the forwarder. So then you think, okay, now next time when I get hit by the dash attack, I need to anticipate it and then DI away so I don't get hit by the forwarder. And that way they can only dash attack again. So you want to do that with everything. Do that with everything in the match. And that is going to be, I think, the majority. When you don't know what specifically to analyze about a match, I think that's what the majority of your analysis should be. So anyways, continuing on with this PP quote. Yeah, and then he goes on to say, he goes on to clarify this. He says, if I get hit by someone doing a particular two-step movement into aerial close to my shield, why did they hit me exactly when they did? What principles of spacing and timing did they take advantage of? So that's that idea of, okay, that's the idea I talked about where, you might get hit because you're approaching into Fox's unreactable short hop aerial range. That spacing of the short hop aerial range and the timing of it being unreactable. Did they convert off of it as if they knew it would work or put themselves in a position to react and follow up? And then he goes on to talking about he then goes on to talk about building like paradigms of players, and like kind of slotting players into like categories. So like using information you get from analysis to build an idea of what a certain archetype of player is going to do, and then using that for future reference when you're playing someone like in bracket that you've never played before. And you look at their first few actions and then you try and categorize them into one of these archetypes you've created based on their first few actions. But I don't think that's really useful for super new players. Just because you don't know what to do with that information quite just yet, I think it's much more useful just to focus on this first paragraph right here. This one. This is really important. And then there's also another way. There's also another really good way of doing analysis on your games that actually IBDW recommends. Which is, he recommends looking through your match and focusing on nothing else but looking through your match, and then I'll put the cam back on for this one. Looking through your match. I realize I've been hiding my cam the entire time. And I've been like looking at the camera and making like hand gestures and stuff. All right, but anyways, he recommends looking through your match and taking note of every time you dropped a punish. So every hand gestures. But yeah, we're too deep into the recording at this point for me to re-record. So but yeah, so FDW recommends going through your matches, and every time you drop a hit, like every time you drop a punish, look at it and take note of what punish you dropped and how you could have continued it. And then go into training mode, go into 20XX, and just practice grinding out that punish over and over again. And when you think about it, that's kind of how like a lot of players like IBDW, Plup, not Plup, I just said Plup because he's a really good player. But IBDW, Zane's what I was thinking of. That's how I think a lot of these these players that have gotten good really quickly, improved at the game so quickly, is they just did what IBDW said, and they just focused extremely hard on punish games. So they would go through their matches and they would watch their matches. And then every time they drop a hit, they would then learn how to not drop that hit in the future. And that results in having a really tight, really efficient punish game, which is really important as a melee player. That a really tight and effective punish game, and efficient punish game, will take you very far. I know in Oregon, Fat Goku is another player that got good using that method. Because if you ever go into this stream and ask him oh, how do I improve? Fat Goku, how do I improve? I'm a new player. He'll tell you that he actually did not start thinking about neutral at all until he was already top 100. Before then, it was all punish. That was one of the only things he focused on, was just punish game. Then he got top 50, so it clearly works. So that's those are my thoughts of how to analyze this game, especially for new players, based on my experience. Those are my thoughts based on my experience, and And based on my experience playing this game for quite a while, and also analyzing quite a bit, I also, oh no, I've gotten pretty okay at this game, mostly through analysis because I lived in a pretty desolate region. I went to college in Salem, Oregon, and I did not have a car. So even though Salem is only an hour away from Portland, which is where all the tournaments are, I was unable to travel to the vast majority of them. And I was also unable to get practice against Portland players, and I also was unable to set net play. So I was limited to basically to my Salem friends, none of whom were close to being like state PR level, and just lots and lots of analysis. And I've now gotten to the point where I've also gotten to the point now where I have multiple PR wins in Portland. I was very close to making PR this season. I just had like a couple bad losses, even though I had some PR wins. But yeah, so anyways, now we can move on to the actual analysis of Landoro's match. And yeah, I can answer questions. But I do go to Portland tournaments now. I've gone to every weekly in Portland since they came back, and I got 13th at the first one, 9th, 4th, and then 9th again. Yeah, I got wins on Yamasaki and Ford, who are 8 and 9 on the PR, but the current number 10 got a win on number 7 and had no bad losses. And I had a couple bad losses, so P edged me out for number 10. But anyways, so the first thing, so let's get into this. Let's get into this Landoro analysis. So first things first, I'm going to pull up Notepad, the essential tool for analysis. Let's get a little Notepad. Let's get a little Notepad source in here. Okay, there's our Notepad. I'll put it below Dolphin for now. So yeah, the first thing we're gonna look at. So the first thing I look at always when I look at a match of someone around Landoro's level, which is pretty new, still figuring out melee, still figuring out tech skill, still figuring out how to like wrap your head around this really complicated and like nebulous and complex game that is Super Smash Bros. Melee for Nintendo GameCube. I like to keep it simple and just look at tech flubs, dropped punishes, and obvious mistakes. So, like, I'm not going to be focusing on, like, oh, when you dashed forward this time, Falcon dashed back, so that means that next time you dash forward, you can overshoot boost grab and punish his dash back, or this time when you wave dash back, Falcon dash forward, or this time when you wave dash back, Falcon short hop barrel in place, so next time you can exploit that. We're not going to do that. Unless it's really obvious that there is a huge flaw in that kind of area that is, that I can see, I'm not going to be looking at that stuff. Instead, I'm going to focus on drop punishes, tech flubs, and then what I call the obvious mistakes are stuff like, say, like a big one, a big one for a lot of SHEIKs, especially new players, is not knowing knockdown percents. So, like, you'll see a lot of SHEIKs, I've already watched this game, I watched a few stocks this game already, and I know for sure Landoro does it. You'll see a lot of SHEIKs that will, like, F-tilt before the move actually knocks down. Which is huge, because if you go for F-tilt before it knocks down, then you can actually be punished on hit. And it's something that a lot of SHEIK players will get away with at first, because they're playing other people on their skill level, but then they'll play, like, basically like a decent player, any decent player, who knows to ASDI down, or CC against SHEIK, and then they'll just get grabbed off of it and die. So that's like a good example of like a big obvious hole in a SHEIK game plan that that is very easy to point out. But with all that said, let us get into it. So this is fine. This is all just like kind of new player stuff. This may have been an attempted short hop. There's a good chance. I think if this was an attempted short hop, then Landoro would be able to get a fair here. But until we see a few more iterations of that situation where there's a possible attempted short hop, I'm not gonna get too deep into it. Okay, so this is the first example of a situation where there is an obvious tactical flub. Because right here, Landoro F-tilts. So, there are only two things... Well, there are technically three things this F-tilt input could be. It could be either an F-tilt, it could be a dash attack, or it could be a forward smash. All of these things are not good. These are all really bad at this percent, because none of those things are going to knock down. For reference, against Fox, dash attack knocks down at 20, F-tilt knocks down at 24. So I'd assume against Falcon it's going to be about 22 or 23 for dash attack and about 26 or 27 for F-tilt. I don't know the exact percentages though, but that's what I would assume based on the Fox knockdown information. But this is the first big mistake of the game. And I think Landoro gets away with it too. So we're going to bring out our notepad. And we're going to write down a little note. And another thing that I like to do a lot, another big thing I like to do with analysis is to always be as specific as possible when writing timestamps. And also write timestamps. Because if you write a timestamp, right, and you like really take note of a specific situation, then it's a lot easier for you to recall that situation in the future. You know, if you say like, oh, at the start of the game I did a bad F-tilt. That's a lot less helpful than saying, oh, at 9 seconds in, Falcon was at boost grab range. And I F-tilted when he was below knockdown percent. That is going to be a lot more specific. That is going to be a lot more helpful and specific for like actually allowing you to improve in that situation than just saying like, "Oh, I made a mistake in the first stock," or "I did a bad F-tilt in the first stock." So the note we're going to write down is at 9 seconds. What happened here? Falcon did like a side B or something. Falcon did a down B. Okay, Falcon down B'd past you. Falcon down B'd past you. And you had an opportunity to whiff punish. But you F-tilted instead. Instead boost grabbed. F-tilt is really bad here, since it won't knock down Falcon until about 12 to 13%. If Falcon does get hit by the F-tilt, he can just AS dive down and punish it on hit with grab, which could kill you, especially at 44. If you were trying to go for a boost grab, that's also a no, since it also won't knock down. And again, we're just trying to be as detailed and like specific as possible. So we know, okay, so we know the situation, we know what actually happened, and then we note why that decision was a mistake, specifically why it was a mistake, and then also, oh, that should be dash attack. And then also note an alternative. Note an alternative option we can do here. So, if you're going to pressure Falcon, if you're going to directly attack Falcon here, go for boost ground instead. Okay. Some more questionable F-tilts. Questionable F-tilt and neutral. Again, this is bad because Falcon is below knockdown percent. And like right here, this is an example of something I'm not going to focus on too in depth. Because right here, right? Landoro walks into Falcon's aerial range. Like, he walks into Falcon's effective range and gets hit. But right now, while we're still figuring out the game, I think thinking about effective ranges is like a little too, like, it's a little too complicated, besides just saying, don't walk into where he could be bearing. Like, if you see Falcon jumping here, assume he's going to bear. Assume he's going to put out a hitbox and then space around it. I think it's not really super useful to go into, like, his exact threat range, but basically just assume he's going to be bearing here, assume he's going to throw a hitbox and then space around it. And that's a good rule of thumb for SHEIK. So I will actually make a note of that. It's just a simple note. Let's bring up Notepad again. You get hit walking right into Falcon's range. When he, as a rule of thumb, okay. I think this is also supposed to be an F-tilt. The jab also is not great. Maybe a dash attack? It seems like you try to either dash attack or F-tilt Falcon when he's below knockdown percent again. And these, again, more F-tilts. Honestly, okay, so now at this point, right, I'm looking at this analysis, and more bad F-tilts. So another thing with analysis that you want to be doing when you're any level player is you want to be trying to find patterns. So if we look at what we've been writing so far, we see F-tilt, like see bad F-tilt, what was probably an F-tilt, maybe a dash attack, and another bad F-tilt. And all of these, and this is also, like, in all of these, everything here, except for the note, this note right here, where he walks into Falcon's bear range, all these mistakes are because of, basically, these mistakes are all just because Landoro was throwing out moves before they knocked down, and he was also throwing out moves impulsively. Like, if you look at this interaction right here, Landoro is kind of just throwing out moves. Like, if you look, like, right here, right? Landoro is kind of just throwing out as many moves as possible. And he gets hit because of it. So the next note is going to be talking about this pattern we're noticing. That we've been noticing for the first 20 seconds of this game. I'm noticing. I'll bring the notepad back up. I'm noticing a big pattern here of you impulsively moves without thinking, especially before they knock down. So this is also another really common thing for SHEIKs, especially. I think also for most players. And is that for a lot of like newer players, there's the impulse to throw out moves and like play the game by throwing out moves first and then using your movement second, when the right order should be using movement first and move second, because you use moves to create opportunities, and you use movement to create opportunities, and you use moves to capitalize on those opportunities. So like here, right? Landoro is kind of just throwing out moves. Like, he's not really moving at all. I'll put the Slippy back on. I gotta remember that. So like right here, Landoro is kind of just like, he's not really moving around. Whenever he does an action, it's pretty much always to attack. Like if you look at, though, if you just like break down what's been happening here, attack, movement, and then Landoro gets hit out of movement. And I think a switch flips where he's just like, okay, now I'm gonna attack. And then he gets hit because you just attacked like 10 times in a row. So that's the next movement. That's the next note. A big thing with SHEIK is that, and really all melee characters, is that you should be using moves. You should be using movement to create opportunities. I'll bring the notepad back on. You should be using movement to create opportunities and moves to capitalize on them. Way around. It seems like at 012 you were trying to use your movement, but then to make something happen, but then got hit out of it and got discouraged. But then got hit out of it and got discouraged. Yeah, so we're gonna keep watching, but I think that's probably gonna be the big thing I focus on, if I had to guess. And then there's just like, I'm gonna stop pointing out the bad F tilts. I think like this F tilt was questionable, so was that one. And you just like raw grabs. Okay, so now, so I'm gonna stop pointing out like the bad F tilts and stuff, because I think that's redundant. Oh, I just realized I forgot to take notepad off. But yeah, so like there's some questionable F tilts. He jumps back on stage. There's a dash attack. He gets down, beat off stage, jumps back on stage. There's a predictable double jump. And then here he lands a hit. And then he drops a tech chase. And I think, so this is a drop punish. This is something that you should be looking at. Like I talked about at the start, like I talked about at the start of the video, this is something you should be paying attention to. You should be paying attention to, okay, every time I get a strong hit, and I drop it, you should be thinking about what you could have done to follow up on the hit. And as you get better, you can then shift to, okay, I've start thinking about, okay, I've created, like, you don't even have to land a move. You just, like, think about how you create a good situation, and then you can think about how you can capitalize on the situation, or, like, capitalize on the position, or, like, frame advantage, or anything like that. Like, every time you get an advantage, how you can capitalize on it. So right here, Landoro gets a dash attack to F-tilt. And then he misreads the situation and assumes that he's going to be able to get a dash attack off of this F-tilt. But actually, he had to go for the tech chase. I don't think you can get a dash attack off this F-tilt. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I don't think you can get a dash attack off that F-tilt. So instead, Landoro has to tech chase here. So let's go to Notepad. So at, what's this? This is at 29 seconds in. Dropped text chase because you thought you could get a true follow-up off of a F-tilt at, well, what percent was Falcon at? Also take it out of the percents, that's very important. You had to text chase. There's also a little bit of a panic jab here. And he gets punished for it. Let's see if he actually was able to follow up on this. I think if Falcon just dashed back here, I don't think Landoro would have been able to follow up on that. Well, would have been able to jab. I think this jab is fraudulent. Okay, another drop punish. Not necessarily a dropped punish. Like, the punish wasn't actually dropped, but there was a way to optimize it. So right here, so the jab that Landoro does actually gives Falcon a window to escape. Because it lets Falcon land on the ground and shield. So like if Falcon had rolled, or even just like dash back immediately, then this punish would have been dropped. Because the Falcon did the panic shield, then Landoro was able to continue the punish. But if you look at the the punish he got right here, this is, like, you can look at when Landoro is active and see that this is a really good up tilt opportunity, or even up air. But if you up tilt here, then you pretty much have a guaranteed fair, nair, or a bear off of this. So like you have a guaranteed like fair, nair, bear off of it if you up tilt here. So an up tilt would be a really good strong option, and Landoro just jabs instead. And oh my god, bear with me while I try to. I should just like minimize the Notepad document, but yeah. So you get a dash attack. You get a dash attack, we jab. Sorry about that. But the idea is a dash attack, and then we jab instead of the up tilt. So we want to be up tilting here. I'm just gonna put this over here. Where's a good place to? There we go. All right, it'll live there. So yeah, next note. So the next note is up tilt here instead of jab. If you had up tilted instead of jabbed here, you would have had a stronger follow-up available. The jab gave Falcon a chance to escape the combo, but the Falcon player panic shielded and let you grab him. Okay. We get the check chase. And this is another example of a drop punish. So here you should be pushing Falcon off stage. Because another drop punish. Falcon is too heavy to peel off of up air, so just fair him instead. He's at 100%. Unless he's... I don't know, like, unless he's at, like, 150... 160. I think Falcon would die off of an up air of 150 or 160. I'm pretty sure, especially, like, a high up air like this one. Again, Landoro kind of just throwing moves out. Not really moving at all. And also jumping right into Falcon's aerial range. Not getting the sweet spot. I don't think I've seen many short hops at all. Landoro might not be able to short hop. Again, throwing out... This is a really bad dash attack. This is really egregious. So 119. Another bad dash attack. Even if it hits. Again, even if it hits, you can still be punished for it, and good opponents will do so. Ledge options are limited. Landoro has done the get up attack, I think, every time he's been on ledge. You've gone for get up attack off ledge every time you've been there. Work on alternative options like ledge dashing. I don't think I'm going to analyze much more of this, because I think the basic idea, like the basic things to look out for, I think are... Oh, there's a ledge dash, let's go. Another bad dash attack. I think Landoro also just needs to clamp his movement. A general thing I'm noticing that is playing into your habit of throwing out moves all the time is that it doesn't look like you're comfortable actually moving around the stage. Good example at 135 when you fumble your movement and put yourself in the corner. Then panic and throw out another bad dash attack. Yeah, because I don't think Landoro needs too much more specific advice. I think this analysis is almost done. Just because I think the big problems here are the bad F tilts and dash attacks, fumbling movement, and not like feeling confident in moving around the stage. And then also just drop punish stuff that would go away with more time spent actually practicing punish game. And also with the stuff that would go away if Landoro does the approach of go through the games, and for every time that he drops a punish, analyze the situation and figure out what way Landoro had available to actually follow up on that option. Like, actually follow up and get a punish created. Or actually, like, continue the punish. And that's one thing I want to say is that so this situation right here is a good example of why it's so easy to this exact F tilt is a good example of why it's so easy to get into a habit of doing these like attacks before they actually knock down with SHEIK, and like also all characters, is because if you think about what like a good Falcon would be doing here, they'd be hit, right? And then instead of standing here, they would probably be like ASDing down, or even like they would see like even like a Falcon would like see SHEIK right here, right? And they would be immediately ASDing down or like CCing to crouch cancel SHEIK's like very common aerial that she would do here. Whereas this Falcon doesn't really do that, and instead puts himself in a position where he's also not holding down for the F tilt. Whereas like a good Falcon or like a good player would be holding down for pretty much this entire interaction. It's different with like Falcon, like the fast faller, just because grab is so threatening. But like a spacey would be just like mashing shine and just like holding down in the situation after they get aerialed, or after like and just holding down and just like then just shining after they get F tilted. But here the F tilt actually leads into a follow up because the Falcon player doesn't know what to do. And it also looks like Landoro needs to work on his punish game a little bit more. We have a drop tech chase. It doesn't look there. It doesn't look like getting the boost grab is muscle memory. And then, of course, after he drops tech chase, there's a panic dash attack. Or a panic F tilt. So, drop tech chase, panic, F tilt. Another situation right here where up tilt would really be good. So I'll take a note of that. So 150 new, another missed up tilt opportunity. And then another drop punish. This may have been an attempted short hop. I'm not 100% sure though. Okay. Yeah, I'm not gonna watch. I don't think I'm gonna watch. I don't think I'm gonna really do dedicated analysis on the rest of the game. Attack. Like the same patterns are popping up where Landoro is just doing Like, it's really hard for, like, Landoro is making this much harder for himself than, or for them than they need to make it, because, like, they're just throwing out all these attacks that Falcon that don't do anything. Like, they're throwing out all these attacks that are like medium risk, low reward, because they don't actually knock down yet. When that's like the exact opposite of what you want to do. Like when when your opponent's at like 0 or like below knockdown percent, you want to be going for like grabs because they're actually high reward, unlike tilts and dash attack, and you want to be going for like aerials because they're low risk and like kind of like low to medium reward. But like throwing on an F tilt or like a dash attack or even like a down smash is just is gonna get you nothing, and it's only gonna put yourself in a position to be hit because of it. Okay. Okay. So yeah, this is what we got. This is what we got. Another missed opportunity off of up tilt. So I'm going to post this in the Discord, and I'm also going to write up some more detailed notes, and I'll just narrate those as I write them. The biggest thing I noticed by far is that you're doing a lot of bad F tilts and dash attacks. Never, for now, never ever throw out F tilt, down smash, or dash attack before they knock down, because they can be punished on hit. Because they can be punished on hit and are high risk, low reward as a result. So for now, never ever throw out F tilt, down smash, or dash attack before they're knocked down, because they can be punished on hit and are high risk, low reward as a result. You also don't seem comfortable using movement, and for the most part, just wildly threw out attacks. Getting comfortable with movement will help create opportunities. Will help create opportunities for grabs, as well as help you cut down on these bad F tilts. And dash attacks. Okay. Also, another big thing would be just spending time practicing follow-ups off of all of your combo starters on Falcon at various percents. You dropped several big opportunities. You dropped several big punishes off of big openers like F-tilt and dash attack, which are very important to hit. Yeah, I think that does it. It's just a nice, clear, crisp 50-minute video. I'm going to upload this to YouTube and then post it. Yeah. So thank you for tuning in. See you on the flip side. And, yeah. Catch you later.